Welcome to Humans of Business, the podcast where we uncover the human side of successful businesses. Here, we speak with business leaders about the human traits that fuel success and how embracing who we are can shape the way we do business. Every business starts with a human, so let's learn from real humans one story at a time. My name is Yuri. I help people and brands shine through communities and personal connections. And my guest is Thomas Marbella, an entrepreneur, developer, investor, and mentor with over 15 years of experience in app development, who started as a freelancer, earning over 200K a year, building apps for brands like Spotify and Porsche, before turning his one-man business into OneCode, a company now making over 3 million euros in revenue. And also, he mentors developers and entrepreneurs through his platform, Rich Dev, Poor Dev. So, welcome, Thomas.
Hi, Yuri. Nice to meet you.
Always happy to talk to you. I don't really know how many conversations we had, but I feel like dozens or hundreds or not thousands, but like close to that. Anyway, I'm always learning something from you. So, and yeah, I'm here today to learn even more. So let's start with this. Tell me one thing about you that I can't find on your LinkedIn profile.
That's a good one. I think I really share many insights of my life and also of things that I had in my youth because I think the way of becoming an entrepreneur is very important to all know all the details. One thing that maybe some people don't really know, it's a good question. I think I really hate analog stuff. I really like digital stuff like emails and everything. And if I get a letter like once in a while, I'm like, I hate it. Just why can be that just digitalize everything. And I think that's one fact that I have never shared on LinkedIn.
So if ever would ever decide to write you a handwritten letter to kind of
That's
like make
different.
this wow
That's
effect, so
different.
better send an email so in that way. But yeah, I totally understand. You know, I remember when it was this DVD. No, it was not DVD. How do you call them?
VHS.
Yeah, VHS, and then you had to like recreate it into video, so to put it online on internet. And then I know there were even like businesses around that they were digitalizing your old photos. And I don't even remember when was the last time I was printing. I
Yeah.
printed a photo, and it's so weird. So yeah, I totally get it. So tell me a little about your business that you are building at the moment. So what do you do specifically, and what keeps you going?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think you mentioned like the very most important part. I got my academy, Rich of Pudev. I got OneCode, started as a freelancer, being an app developer for like 15, 16 years now. So that's the most important things. Currently, I'm working on growing OneCode, one person at a time. Currently, we're 14. We used to be 17, so it's going back and forth. And I think since this podcast is about humans, I can really share some details about the importance of the human connection to your team because it's too often, especially in big companies, that you're just kind of a number. I mean, I had it when I was working for Mercedes or for Porsche. It was a nice job and people were caring, but you were just like sort of a number. There was nothing important. And there are many startups out there who say, hey, we are like family. But usually this is just a bad excuse for bad salaries. So I don't like that one. But let me tell you, once you do have a team and you care about your team, about every single person, and you have a special connection to them, this is really so important, especially in the remote world that we have. It's even more important to get this connection because you see your people probably once in a while on a video call. We here at OneCode, for example, next week we're doing a workation in Malaga. So we rented a big villa and have a time of our life, just doing some works and projects. And I think things like this and actually caring about the people, selecting them properly, and having a good team match is very important to be successful as an entrepreneur. Because let's be honest, if I wouldn't have my team and my company and everything around, I would just be a freelancer. So my team is everything to me. And that's why I share everything I have with them.
You know, to your point about having people as family and like, yeah, we're family. Have you ever seen family members paying each other? No, it's not like that. We're just helping each other just for free and just like that. I feel like it's the idea behind that. And you told about building these human connections and like finding your people. So I'm curious, how do you know that you click with a person?
That's a good question. And it took me like literally, I think around 700 interviews in the last 10 years. So many interviews. So probably like twice a week for like last 10 years. And especially in my academy, when they say, who should I hire first? Because your first employee is your most important one. You need to have a good gut feeling and you need to develop this by, let's be honest, at seeing and screening at least 40 to 50 different persons in interviews. And for the last time that we hired someone, our newest team member, Falk, love him, we had, I think, 200 applications. We screened around 40 CVs that were good. And I was like, okay, I want to get to know the 10 best people. And he was one out of three where I said, man, you're such a cool person. Like, don't mess the test up. And you got that job. So you really know if someone, let's say, is boring, doesn't fit, has the right spirit, maybe even has the same humor. So it's very important to have diverse team, but still you have to have the same principles, maybe around the same age, like the same vision. And in my case, it's like if I talk to a person like 10, 20, 30 minutes, whatever, if it really was fun, I was like, hey, this person could join our team. And in the Silicon Valley, they had a so-called beer test and said, do you want to hang out with this person after work for a beer or not? And if you say no, it's probably a bad team fit.
Hmm. You know, it's I sometimes I have this feeling when I meet a person. Some people can be like very outgoing, very friendly right away, and it feels like they're amazing. And some people can be like closed and like, ah, no, I don't really feel any connections. But I also learned, like, you know, like when the war in Ukraine started, those people who were like, yeah, I'm so happy to see you, I'm so happy to, they just got lost. And when like someone needed help, really those people who were like this more like closed and like not very talkative, they came up, and it felt like that you will see, you will find your people while going through challenges with them. And for example, if you haven't like this interview, the screening, so yes, they're kind of like looks good on skills. Yes, they looks like very talkative people. How do you test them like going forward? How do you ensure that you are keep going through your business with them like over 5, 10, 20 years, etc.?
That's a pretty good question. And to be honest, I have one new credo in my life, which is usually forget about the first impression. I
Hmm.
mean, still in the interviews, I have a good gut feeling, but when I meet new people, I have, for example, three friends. The very first impression was so bad, and I was like, I would never want to see them again. And now they're like friends of mine. So this is something. And I think even though if you develop your gut feeling, see the interview screenings and so on, you need to experience it and actually do it. In our case, we had around, let's say, 30 people in total, some quit and so on. I hired three people that really didn't fit a team. So you need to be honest to yourself and say, in a period of the first 3 to 6 months, if something comes up, if your vision or mission declines or whatever, you got to be honest and say, hey, this person may not be the best fit for our team. So have a conversation with this person and say, hey, this is my expectation. This is what we're doing. Um, are you having fun in what you're doing? Is this like, do you like it? And then have an open conversation, see how it goes. And usually, if you think they don't fit in a team, they usually don't. They have the same opinion. And then you just maybe split ways in a good way. That's part of the thing. And let me tell you, like the very first time I needed to talk to someone about this was very, very hard. So second time was still out, but makeable. Third time was a little easier. It's never easy, but I think you always have to be honest and critic and say, hey, things are not working out. Let's do something.
I remember it was some Hollywood movie. I don't remember the name, but there was idea that they were hiring a specific person to fire people. So they were not like doing this themselves, but it was like a service. And you hire a person, this person comes to you, kind of like, hey, come to me, we have a talk. You're fired. And
Yeah.
then like, yeah. So basically they kind of like delegated this kind of hard task. And so it sounds like it's a number game. So you can understand people better only going through experience through
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, it's some sort of a numbers game. So I can tell you in theory what makes a good person, but if you have not done at least 40 to 50 interviews for potential applicants in your company, you will probably not understand it. We had it once in Rich Def Pulev. There was someone about to hire his first employee. He said, Thomas, I got 10 people interviewed and this one's a perfect fit. And I saw that and I was like, that's a good fit, a good salary. It's going to be better. You do 40 more. He was like, okay, you're my mentor. I do 40 more. Like 1 month later, and he did quite a lot. He was like, man, I found two people who are even better, cheaper, more team fit, more this and that. And I was like, yeah, you see, now you have an actual range and know what kind of perks and things are working. And so I would say magic number is around 40 to 50.
Mm.
Just gotta go through this. It's an experience, especially as an entrepreneur. It'll change your gut feeling and your not even mindset, but your inner feeling about this. And I think this is really important.
You've told that you are making friends. So I'm curious, what does it mean for someone to be a friend? Like who can you call a friend?
That's quite philosophical, to be honest. Uh, I think, as you had mentioned, like in easy times, having friends or people you know, whatever, this is nice. But in hard times, you always see who's going to follow you, stick with you, and so on. Um, there is a saying that I think is very hard but very true, and this is every friendship has a reason and a season. And I gotta
Mm.
be honest, I had mentors, I had best friends, I had business partners, or whatever. And as much as I liked them and as much rapport that we had, so we split ways. And this was really like we didn't have the reason that we had before. And some things will end. So this was very hard in the beginning. But let's say with friends, maybe with teammates, business partners, whatever, you will have your time and it will change. I think usually the only person that will last forever are your child or maybe your partner. But besides that, things come and go. Same for business partners. I had some business partners like 5 years ago, and I think we were doing business for the next 10 years. Now we are not, but this is fine. And I think that's part of the game because, especially as an entrepreneur, you're growing and growing and you're changing. And so your peer will be changing.
I, a lot in our previous conversations, you were talking a lot about value, and that's what I learned a lot from you, like giving value, like paying it forward, like doing value for stuff. And people sometimes are, doing this matchmaking thing. Like I give you value and I expect something in return. So I'm curious, like from your perspective, what is the connection between value and expectations?
That's going to be a very deep podcast. Um, I mean, I always say just like Alex Hormozy, like give value first and like don't think about the return. And I would always encourage everybody to do that. So we're having some sort of a better world. What I often see, especially among business angels or even VCs, so their time is very limited. They have a lot of money and stuff to handle. They talk to you for like a minute. And if they don't see the value that you can return to them, they're going to go to the next person. It's a little bit unsocial and cold, but I understood that because they want to make their millions or whatever. It's a little strange in the beginning, but it's the way they work, let's say. And I think it really comes down to your expectation and, for example, the context. If you're at a party, you don't want to meet your next business partner, you just want to have a good time, talk to somebody, have fun, laugh. You're good, nothing they can return. If you meet business partners, I think it's very important that you vibe with them, that you're having a good time, and then to see how does our values align and can I give you value and can you give me value back? Because other way around didn't work for me and many other people's for years. I had so many business relationships where I was like, hey, I can, I don't know, give you app developers and this intro and that. And they were like, I can give you this and this and that. But we didn't have rapport, we didn't have a vibe. And so it didn't work out. But vice versa, when I'm having a good time with someone, for example, with you, so things are just working out. It's the way it is.
Like you mentioned this moment because for me personally, I remember it was like dozens of these moments where I started human conversation first. Like we are not talking about business at all. We are talking about kids, about pets, about like being a husband, being a father, or like
Yeah.
I don't know, just travels, hobbies and stuff. And then like that's the end of the conversation. And
Yeah.
then like some days later, people call me like, "Oh, I heard that you are doing this. We need to build a community for business. Can
Yes.
you come to our office or like can we jump on a call?"
To be honest, to us, you like one of the best sales tips that I gave in the past was really about this. So have this connection, this emotional, human, social connection. And people will remember you. And you don't even have to pitch. So they see your LinkedIn profile or whatever. They know what you're doing. So, and you don't have to pitch, yo, I'm doing podcasts, I do this. I don't have to pitch like I have all the developers, whatever. They already know. And once they are ready, they will ask you about it. So just feed this human connection, be likable,
Mm.
and things will work out. And I think the best thing that I had with one of our clients was it was a very bad project, and project was going south for different reasons. And we were meeting for coffee, and I kid you not, we were talking for 1 hour straight about the new Zelda game that came out. Like human
Yeah, okay.
connection, just having fun. Hey, did you beat that boss? Did you find that item? And then, like perfect context break, he was like, you know about the project. Can we handle
Mm.
this? Is this possible? How do we do this and that? We did it for like 5 minutes, and he was like, okay, check, things are working. And then I was like, so you did beat the final boss? And this was like 1 hour gaming, rapper being social, 5 minutes straight business answers, and then continue with whatever small talk. And this is just like being human. We like each other. We are some sort of alike, clarifying the rational business facts, and then just continues being human. So, and many people overestimate all these business facts and underestimate the social factor.
That's what people miss on a lot, and that's what I see because every time that I meet some new person, like kind of like networking coffee chat, many people are trying to kind of like, what do you do? Here's what I'm do. Let's sell,
Oh my
let's sell,
God.
and you can totally feel that. And like the more I meet, let's say, community folks have this gut feelings. They know how to do a conversation. So basically, you never had a shitty conversation with a community person because it's all about human connections. It's all about finding something interesting about each other. But when I'm talking with like business people,
Yeah.
a lot is like, what can you give me? What can I give you? Okay, no, match, not match, like
Yes.
left, right, whatever. So
Yeah.
it sucks.
At,
By
at
the way,
this,
what was that Zelda game?
this was it was not Twilight Princess. It was the first one for Switch. I don't remember the name.
Is it Breath of Wild, I guess, or something like that?
That was the second one.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the second one already.
Tears
I
of the
know.
Kingdom. TOTK. Tears of the Kingdom.
I feel like it's the latest game, Tears of Kingdom, I guess, where
Yeah.
you create robots and then you are
Yes.
doing all
Yes.
this. Oh
But
my gosh.
it was so funny just having this conversation. By the way, I had the same with someone else. He was the, I think, CEO of a smaller company of GLS, and we met at a party having some wine. And he was like, for a split second, hey, what you do for a living? It's like, yeah, developer body leasing, everything's fine. Yeah. So yeah, we do this and that. And he was like, hey, you're a nice guy, but we don't need that. Fine.
Mm. Yeah,
3 weeks later, he's calling me, oh, we started a project. We need some app developers. So this was just like nobody did pitch or sell, but it was just a nice evening. He was like, yeah, Thomas seems to be a cool dude. And I encourage everybody in my academy or even on LinkedIn, just be likable, be a cool person, get in touch with everybody else, and people will remember.
and I feel like it's just a good thing to be on top of minds. And
Yeah.
one of the tricks that I use sometimes I receive this notification that you can see it on LinkedIn that someone had a birthday or
Yeah.
someone has like a job change or whatever. If you like feel a connection to this person, just send them a message, like, just congratulate them,
Yeah.
just ask them some question. Like it's like very, very small detail. It's like
Yes.
so easy, but people are not really expecting that. Not that many people are doing this. So just by being curious, just by sending like one human message. I remember the lesson you taught me when you said that you just sent like Happy New Year or Happy Christmas to like 200 people, and then like 10 of them or something like that came back. Oh, by the way, we need a person, let's work
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
just one like congratulations
Right.
with a
Right.
part like with Christmas. It's
Yeah,
so
as you mentioned, like being on top of a mind. And I do that at Easter, at New Year, or at Christmas, like all my WhatsApp contacts. And it's kind of funny because it's working. I mean, I had the same a week ago. I was on vacation, had a drone flight, FPV drone, posted a video. I think a couple of hundred people saw that and they were like, oh, very nice. Hey, cool drone. What kind of drone do you have? And you're just talking about stuff and I think 1 out of 10 was like, by the way, I need a developer. So, oh, nice. So then you're making business.
yeah. Start with human, go to business. How do you feel about making mistakes?
It's important, to be honest, especially in Germany. It's so underdeveloped and people are not encouraged to do failures and mistakes. And in the Silicon Valley, it's completely the other way around. People are like driving against the wall, say, hey, that was great, our car crashed. Let's hit the next wall. But they are so pragmatic, and I learned that when I was there. to be honest, especially as an entrepreneur, a little bit as a freelancer, but especially as an entrepreneur, you will always have these 20 to 30 to even 40% of unknown stuff that may happen. And so many people are like, I need this to be planned out at 90%. It's not possible in some cases. Make sure you're not making a too big mistake, but still there's this unknown factor that will always be there. And the bigger your company gets, the more it will be there. You get used to it. Um, and I think making mistakes is fine because when you make a mistake, you got to learn from it.
Mm.
I had it like in the last couple times when I started a CTO dinner, I made so many mistakes and it fucked me up. But to be honest, I learned so many things. Next iteration was better. Next iteration was better. Now we are at the seventh iteration. Things are working out. So make as many mistakes as possible. Make sure they don't cost you too much. Maybe get a mentor who says, by the way, these are the pitfalls. Try to avoid them. Yeah, makes your life easier.
I feel like when you are going through a lot of mistakes already, it's so much easier to keep doing them and to keep learning from them specifically because, like, oh, another mistake. Okay, what can I learn from this? What can I do better? How can I move forward? But when you start doing mistakes, when you are doing the first mistake, it can be so hard. You can be so hard on yourself. So I'm curious, how do you push through
But
moments of the self-doubt?
yeah, but I think I had that like last time, or let's say so. When you start, for example, as a software developer, you will have shitty code, nothing's gonna compile. So you are going from mistake to mistake until it works. I now had the same. I have a son of 1.5 year old, and he tried so many times until he can walk. He fell so many times.
Uh,
And my best friend said, Thomas, he's getting up like the thousandth time, probably. He's still trying, and you're not trying a business, this and that. Like, yeah, you're right. So, and I think what's very important is what's newly called resilience,
mm,
like being tough, learning from your mistakes, don't swell in bad emotions. Because in a retrospective from, let's say, the last 10 years that I did, and so many things that happened, there were very bad things for sure, but here am I. So it's better than ever. And let's say retrospective, I did worry way too much about things that could happen or have happened, or I made them bigger as they are. So usually in a retrospective, I can say, yes, bad things happen, but I'm here, I'm still alive, can't be that bad. And I think for especially successful entrepreneurs, they did experience so many things, and they already know they're gonna experience more bad things, but things will work out at the very end. And this is, by the way, also something that Alex Hormozy said, do just so much volume, do so many things, and do all these mistakes, learn from it. And this is the only thing that separates an successful entrepreneur from others. They are usually not smarter or gifted or whatever. It's just this.
It's so fun. I recently saw a TikTok. My wife shared it with me. It was a person, Liz Friedman. She's like, I feel like 90 years old or something like that. And she's like very successful lady, business lady in New York. And she told that when she was at some cardiology conference, like long time ago, when she was 25, the doctor told her like, if you want to like be good, like in your older like years, don't take it easy. Take it hard because people say, yeah, you're getting older. Take it easy. Take it slower. Take it twice hard. Take it harder. Take it even harder than it's possible. And she was like, I keep doing harder all the time. That's why I'm here. And I was like, yeah, I just like it because sometimes people are like, relax, don't do anything. And especially I feel like people are forgetting what does it mean to be stupid. I mean, like we learn this word stupid and we are
Yeah.
afraid to seem stupid or that someone will call us names or whatever, and kids just don't know that. They don't know what does it mean stupid. They will just ask questions unless you answer them, and moreover they will ask you more and more and more questions unless you feed their curiosity. And
Yeah.
humans, they will be like adults, they will be just like, huh? No,
Right.
everything. I understand everything. I understand everything. And they're like, what the hell just happened? They have no idea. They are not asking questions. I feel like we have to learn from kids back then.
That's one thing. And I think that I see on many freelancers and entrepreneurs, they have their own ego in their way. And for sure, it's not fun to say, hey, I'm not good at this, or I can this, or can you play maybe explain this to me? But this will be honest. And what I learned from my mentors was, hey, always, like always be humble because there's always a bigger fish and it doesn't matter how good you are or whatever. You can learn from everybody. And some people probably make 100K or 200K and think they are so wise or whatever. It's not the case. And always being a learner is important. It's not, I mean, in theory, it's easy. In practicality, some people don't really get it, but it's really important to stay open for these things. And especially when you start with something new, when you start a new business, you're totally new to this. Doesn't matter how long you're in a business of, I don't know, being software developer or so on. If you start your own company, it's your first time, um, things will go wrong. It's part of the game.
You talked about a bigger fish. So I'm curious,
Oh,
how do you feel about comparisons?
oh, that's there was this one saying comparison is the thief of all joy. And I had that a couple of times, like I think 3 years ago, I used Instagram and then I deleted it. And it was always like this guy with a Ferrari and Rolex and yacht and being on the Maldives or whatever. There's always someone bigger, but still, especially in social media, be it Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever, so many people are just showing off, faking stuff. So that's totally not real. Everybody knows that, but still people get influenced by that. Um, what I see is kind of funny. I have many freelancers, and they're like, "Oh my God, Thomas, you made it. You're making like 3 million a year." It's like, you know what? My mentor is making like hundreds of millions per year. And I'm like, I'm such a small person. And they also told me, hey, it's cool what you do. Just keep on doing it for the next 20 to 30 years because they're all a little older. And there's always a bigger fish. And for example, funniest story I ever heard, the CEO of Oracle, Larry Ellison, did had, I think, a bad time because there
Hmm.
was someone on the world having a bigger yacht than him. And I was like, what's that kind of a problem? So there's always a bigger fish. Maybe if you're Jeff Bezos, it's not, but still. Um,
Yeah, it depends.
yeah, so it's cool to have a peer group that pushes you. It's always good to have goals saying, I want to grow, I want to maybe be like that person, but don't take it to heart. And especially don't let this steal your happiness. You can be happy with whatever. And especially as
No,
an entrepreneur, you can have a simple life, make your 50K, whatever. You have a good life. Life is not about money, it's about family, good times, good podcasts.
yeah, it's so fun. I recently had a few conversations with folks from the community world and freelancing world, and they're like, "Oh my God, you are doing that. You are having this podcast. You're like everyone knows you in the industry and all this." I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't think so, really. And they're like, "Yeah, like I don't know how do you do this? How do you have all the time and stuff? Like I would like to do this like you." And I'm like, uh, I would like to be a Steven Bartlett or someone like that, and then like Alex Hormozy and stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay. So it's always, I feel like it's always, someone is always in front of you and someone is
yeah.
always behind you. And I feel like when you are stuck in this comparison cycle, it can be like very hard, very hard.
True. I mean, especially what I see is that many people sacrifice a lot of free time, a lot of life quality for their business and having a hard way. And I would, for example, also say that Alex Hormozy did crunch for many years. And people always see the success, always see the millions, maybe the Ferraris or vacations or whatever. But this is just like the 1% that happens at the very end, and they
Yeah.
don't see the way. And usually, I know some billionaires, and I know what they did, and they were like, "I can show you how this is possible." And I was like, I don't need that."
D-
So it's all really important to say, okay, what's the sacrifice for that? Where do you want to be? What makes you happy? Very important question. And is life part of that or not, or to what extent? And I really think that everybody should pursue happiness more than money. Yes, money helps, but if you're making like 60, 70, 80, 100K, especially in Germany, you're having a good life, man.
what makes you happy?
It's a good question. It's a very tough question. Meeting new people, having deep conversations, doing a lot of sports, maybe playing video games once in a while, flying my drone,
Okay.
and really seeing my son growing up because like he's now in an age where it's real fun. But to be honest, it took me quite some time to actually focus that because I was like, yeah, making money, making this, but it's not like that. And I can tell you, I had 1 month where I made like only, I think, 80, 90K in profit in 1 month. And I was happy
Mm.
for a week. And then in the second month, I did only half of that. And I was sad. And this is the story. So it doesn't matter. It's just a number.
Yeah. How do you define success beyond financial metrics?
I think there was a saying of Steve Jobs. If you're getting up, looking in the mirror, and if you say, hey, I like what I'm doing, you're good. And if you say, I don't like what I'm doing, you say that for longer than a week or two, you may change something. And in my case, I'm getting up morning and I'm like, hey, I'm looking forward to work, talking to my people, talking to new people, talking to podcasts or whatever. So this makes me happy. Yeah,
What would you do if you didn't need to work for a living?
I guess exactly what I'm currently doing.
And so it's an easy question. I understand that.
Yeah, no, I think I thought about that for a while. I thought it would be building video games, but I
Mhm.
did that 2 years ago, and I was like, no, that's just a nerdy dream that I have. And building video games is freaking hard, and make monetize them is also hard. So yeah, doing what I do. But it's very important. There is this one metaphor of a fisherman, and he's going around the beach, fishing, living his life. And there's this businessman saying, hey, you know what? I can show you how you scale your fishing skills with a business. And they talk and they talk. And the businessman's like, we're gonna skill that, and you're working like 5 years in this. And at the very end, you can do what you want to do because you have money and time. And he's like, you know what? I'm doing what I like to do. I'm exactly here where I am, and I'm happy. This is what most people underestimate.
Yeah, you have to find your own space,
Yes.
which is kind of the hardest part, especially in the world of the social media
Yes.
when you get
Yeah.
bombarded with this successful success and all this stuff. And you're like, how do I live my life? I feel like I live other lives. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
the hardest question. And Thomas, I wish to have the sky as a limit, but time is the limit. So the final question, what's one thing that you are really good at that no one knows that you are really good at?
That's a hard question. Oh man. I used to be a pro gamer in the video game Unreal Tournament 2004, like 20 years ago. I'm very,
Okay.
very good at that one. That's a skill that doesn't help me anytime, but I'm very good at that.
I remember that game. I played that game and I really like this Unreal Tournament. It was very similar to Quake 3, but I
Yes,
feel like it was, I don't remember. I feel like it was more interesting. It has better weapons than Quake as
probably.
far. Yeah, yeah. So, what is the best way to connect with you?
Probably on LinkedIn. Just type for Thomas Marbella, write me a message. I'm always happy to help, to answer. Yeah, stay connected.
Last but not least, name two people I should have this podcast conversation with.
Ah, that's a good question. Probably Marco Papula, which is also one of my mentees. And a second one, Norman Schutt. I can give you the context. They will probably fit here perfectly. Two entrepreneurs, podcast experienced, cool guests.
And I totally know them from Freelance Unlocked. So the world is
Yeah,
small. Oh,
perfect.
yeah. Got it. Thank you, Thomas, for this dozen, I know, 105th conversation or something like that. And you're always, like an example of very helpful, very open person who is ready to be out there, ready to give value first, ready to just have a good conversation, have a good laugh with other people, just make this world a little better by leading by example. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I always enjoy talking to you, and especially today. So thank you so much for your time and for this conversation.
Thank you. See you.
And yeah, see you in the business world. And thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions about how the community can help you reach and overcome your business goals faster, let's connect on LinkedIn and talk about it. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.